Well, hello there. Welcome to the Kevin Show. It's really hot because I'm in Houston. So give me a second. I'm still working out some of the details here, but we should be able to go live right about now. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another Kevin Show. I am Kevin, the Kevin Tomlinson. If you don't know who I am, what the heck are you doing here? But you're invited. You're welcome. So, Uh, today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about this guy behind me, our van. I'm under our awning, which has been very nice because I am in the Houston area. In fact, I am in Houston at the moment on an RV park here, and it is quite hot outside. I don't know what the current temperature is, but it feels like just shy of a billion. And the humidity is not much less than that. So, if you live in the Houston area, you are fully aware of what I'm talking about. So, um, I hope this is going through okay because I was just on a live stream a few minutes ago with Story on the Spot. Hey, Carrie, thanks for popping in, man. Um, and I think I was having some connection issues or something. So if I do get disconnected or if it's stuttery or whatever, I apologize. That's live stream on the road for you. So if you didn't tune in the last time, and it's been a couple of weeks now because I got sidetracked with some other stuff, but I did a kind of a little tour of the van. You can see it here behind me. Let's see if I can get my hand in the picture. There. And she's been holding up real well. So we've been in it for close to a month now, I think. And it's been, it's actually been a lot of fun. And we haven't got to go and do all of the things that we uh, had planned to do yet. We're still kind of working on that. Basically, what we've been doing is we've been here in the Houston area, going to like doctor's appointments and ordering some things we need. And the transition. I'm sorry about the noise. I know there's a big giant air conditioner there, but the transition from the trailer, the travel trailer, to the van meant that we had to downsize quite a bit of what we were carrying, and it meant that we had to go and revisit the storage unit, and which was kind of why we were here. We were here to kind of organize that those. We had three storage units, and now we have two. My goal was to get us down to one, but it kind of just turned out that it was better to have two of those guys. So if you can see the van in the background back there, it looks tiny, doesn't it? It is kind of tiny. It is a tight space. And you would think that that would be kind of a downer or a negative, but it's actually really working out for us. We've actually culled down the amount of stuff that we're carrying, and we're kind of getting things down to just the essentials. So that's been what we've been working on. We've ordered a few things, and we're keeping Amazon in business with the amount of stuff that we're uh, ordering through those guys. Constantly getting new stuff. Look, here's the lake that's behind us right now. It's kind of a nice space. This is here in the Houston area, just outside of Houston. So, um, it's been kind of cool because we actually will get into the van in the morning. Like sometimes we'll decide, let's go work from somewhere else today, and instead of sticking around here, we'll load up and roll to a different part of the area. Um, a couple of days ago, we went to Kingwood. We found a nice shaded park kind of in their town center there, and we just kind of hung out there for the day, did our work, knocked a few things out, took Minnie for a few walks while we were there, and had our lunch and just, enjoyed ourselves. And when the batteries kind of got a little low, because right now we're having to run the air conditioner pretty much 24/7 uh, in order to survive. So the batteries don't hold up quite as well. We can get about most of a day out of the batteries when we do that. But if we're, and occasionally what I'll do is I'll kind of kick on instead of kicking on the generator, I'll actually turn on the engine and let it idle for a bit, because that way we can kind of cool ourselves down a little. Probably not the greatest thing. It's not the greatest thing for the environment. Probably not so great for the engine either. So uh, we want to eventually leave here and get into an area where we don't need air conditioning all the time. So that's the goal. But until then, this is where we are. We're enjoying where we are, and it's been kind of nice. This place, I'm walking on a little path around the lake. It's actually my first time to do this, so you're taking me an inaugural walk with me. So, oh, nice shady spot. I should linger here for a little while. With the breeze coming off the lake and everything, it's actually quite cool. Uh, so, how well does AC keep up? That's a good question. It actually doesn't do too bad of a job, but the AC that's in this van is a 12-volt AC. So when if it's not on shore power, it doesn't cool so hot. It cools fine, but it doesn't cool, like, it's not going to get it down to like a crisp like 70s or something. But it does help keep the humidity out of the air, and we are able to kind of be comfortable in it. Even when it's plugged in, though, it's like right now with the sun's just brutal. And it's like high 90s, maybe even triple digits right now, and it gets up into the 80s. So not ideal, not the most comfortable. We kind of prefer things like in the mid 70s, but yeah, we're a little spoiled. But if you're not spoiled to AC, it's actually not too bad. It doesn't get anywhere above like 82 most of the time. So and occasionally we'll kick on the engine and run the AC from the dash, and that helps a great deal. So I'll do that for a little bit, and I'll cool things down, and then just sort of let it ride for the next hour or so. But we also picked up a couple of these like USB battery powered fans, which kind of help move the air around. And I'm finding that as long as there's like air movement, a good airflow, even though the coach says it's like in the 80s, it feels perfectly comfortable to me. So what I'm more concerned about is humidity, and it does a pretty fair job of taking the humidity out of the air. I'm going to answer, as soon as I hit the shade spot up here, I'm going to ask and answer this next question or comment because I can't see it just yet. So hold on. All right, here we go. Hey, Sam, how are you? So, can you have a paddle in the water? I don't think so. Not at this lake. This is swimming in the pool. I doubt they'd let you swim in the lake itself. I'll get am I back? Did I come back? Sam's question. Here's another one. Uh, Good grief, I'm having a heck of a time reading the screen. Good, thank you. How are you? Oh, I'm good. There. Yeah, things seem to be working again. Sorry about all that. You never know what you're going to get when you're on the road. If you didn't hear earlier, as I was describing this lake that they've built, and they put a whole bunch of these giant carp in it. And when we first got here, we pulled into our spot, and Kara saw them, and it's a little freaky looking to see these things. And I'm going to see if I can show you some of them here. what they do is they come up to the surface of the water and their fins pop up like sharks. So let's see if you can see. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see. All right. I don't know if you can see those guys or not in the water, but they're these like fins coming up. And those are these giant carp. And they're kind of bizarre. But what happens apparently is they like the heat, and they come up to the surface at this time of day and just kind of hang out at the surface. And all the kids here, so they do allow fishing in this lake, and it's catch and release. But all the kids here like to go out and try to catch whatever's in the water, and they're constantly trying to catch these carp. And I think the carp are just not having it. So let's see if I got any other questions here. Nothing yet. Okay. So anyway, we've been here now. We're getting close to a month in this spot. It just seems to sort of work out that way, that we're spending like a month in each spot we visit. Not entirely ideal. We were kind of thinking we'd be on the road a little more. Oh, see if you can see that guy. I don't know if you could see him. Big one came right to the surface. They're kind of freaky. But that's okay. We're gonna once we're done with all the stuff we're waiting on and the appointments we have and that sort of thing, we're going to go ahead and get back on the road. We've got a destination in mind. We've changed destinations 2 or 3 times, in part due to the pandemic. Pandemic's kind of changed our plans quite a few times. Not in the ways you would think. It's mostly changed our plans in that, between that and like riots and things like that, we don't want to get anywhere into areas that are like hot spots. But then I don't know. Maybe it is in the ways you think. But we have an opportunity because we're selling our other RV, and it's in Elkhart, Indiana. So we're going to be rolling up in that general direction. Once we leave here, we should be leaving here around the 21st, maybe a little sooner if we get a chance. But we were going to go to Orlando, and then it was Idaho, and then it was all kinds of other places. But we're flexible. We got to be flexible in this. So, sorry if my hand covers the lens. I'm having trouble reading the comments and questions in the sunlight. It's very, very bright. Okay, let's see. Andy says, late, where are you now? We are currently in the Houston area, Andy. I'm actually in Houston. I'm technically in the Houston city limits. So, gosh, I can't read it. Let me try zooming in. Okay. Oh, I saw it. Ew, don't paddle. They might bite. I don't know. Do carp bite? Are they carnivorous? They have to be, right? All fish are, right? Or do they mostly eat? No, they eat bugs and stuff, so they might come after you. I can't think of a more horrifying idea for a way to die than death by carp. I don't want that on my obituary. So the title of this episode, by the way, is that I feel like a spaceman, and that comes from a conversation that Karen and I were having this morning. The longer we're in this thing, so if you were a fan of Star Trek, particularly Star Trek: Next Generation, they always had these shuttlecraft, and they would have sometimes there would be some pretty small ones, and if you got 2 people in one of these things for long term, there are bunks and things like that, and that's basically what this thing feels like sometimes. Like Karen and I each have a bunk. We got kind of our own little space in there, but not much room for anything else, and so we will tend to just sort of kick around, hang out, sit and do our work with, sort of got our legs crossed and, laptops propped on our laps and things like that. We've both started using our iPads a lot for our work, mostly because the iPad has its own built-in, always-on internet, which has been pretty handy. But today there were some things I couldn't do on the iPad that I could only do on my laptop, so I had to basically had to have both out. So that's when things get a little squishy in there. So, but I will say the little fans we bought are they're a real godsend because that's allowing us to. Yeah, I'm able to just sort of hang. It's on these little like flexible tripods, like what they call a gorilla pod, and so you can kind of hang it from things, or you can put it wherever you need it. And that's been real handy because I can actually just kind of get the air flowing. It's been nice because I can actually kind of have it pull air from the air conditioner and hit me full on in the face. So, been pretty sweet. So, anyway, that's we're back full circle. I'm back here at the van. That's the roundabout tour of this place. I gotta say, if I have to compare this to the last place we were in, which was in Kerrville, that place is called Buckhorn Lake. I think that place is a lot nicer than this one. Uh, but that said, I still think this is a fairly nice RV resort, and we're going to be kind of looking at more of these as we go. We're also going to be looking at boondocking, which, if you're not familiar with the term, just means that we're going to be off grid. We are able to, we've got a 40-gallon supply of water, and I believe each of the tanks, actually, I think each tank is 40 gallons. So black water, gray water, and reserve water. And then we have propane on board, which we rarely use, and it's mostly being used to heat the water. But if we're plugged into electricity, that actually gets used to heat the water. So that's been nice. We have a generator, and we have a solar cell. So we are actually able to be off grid for a few days, at least a couple of days. It's hard to tell. And what we have determined is that we have some sensors that are not working on our tanks. So I'm not able to, right now, to see what the levels are on two of our tanks. So whenever we're going to be taking it in to have, as soon as they tell us they've got the parts. But for now, I just have to do like visual checks, which is a little challenging because the tanks are under Kara's bed. So I have to lift her bed up and kind of get a flashlight and shine on the freshwater tank. And then the black water tank, that's full when that's full. You know it. But I'm kind of starting to get a feel for how long we can go before I either have to fill or empty a tank. And once I've kind of got that in my head, it may not be such a big deal that we can't see the levels. In the trailer and in our last RV, I hardly ever checked the levels. It got to a point where I just knew it was time to do something, and so I just took care of it when it was time. So, okay, another comment has popped up. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So Sam's saying she has no idea whether the carp will eat you, but piranha do, and I agree. I don't think they're as bad as piranha, of course, but I actually have no idea whether carp would come after you or not. I think they're probably going to be too afraid to get anywhere near you. They're pretty laconic. Like they're very slow. I think they're just looking for some warmth from the sun. So who knows? Who knows? Not much of a fisherman these days. And if I was, I don't think I've ever gone fishing for carp. um, So Andy says, might want to head north for some cooler weather. Absolutely, man. We're not exactly enjoying the triple digit heat and, high humidity here, but it hasn't been too terrible. We've actually spent some time with her parents, so we actually get to hang out and sit around in their house every now and then. There's a nice, behind me here, there's a nice clubhouse. Have to wear a mask to sit in there, but you can go in there. They actually have an ice and water machine, so sometimes I'll go in and fill up a big cup of ice and just kind of let myself cool from the inside and the outside. Nice little shower facilities back there. So there is a shower and toilet in the RV, but using the shower in the RV means filling a tank and having to do like cleanup and stuff. So anytime I get a chance to take a shower in an actual shower, I do, because I can also do things like let the water run, but you don't really want it. You can do that in the camper, but you shouldn't. So Carrie says solar cell. How much power does that generate? How big is it? And around what is the cost? So the solar cell that's on here came with it. So I don't know what the cost is per se. I do know there are kits on Amazon you can get for just a few $100. Now you have to get a solar controller and charger. Um, so you'll need that, a whole converter and everything. So depending on what kind of RV you have, you might have to switch out the way your converter works, depending on what sort of lead acid battery transmitting. There we go. Um, but the solar cell that's on this one is only 200 watts. It's not a ton. It's more for kind of helping to continuously charge, just adding to the charge. The charger controller is just above the door, and I'm taking it. If I'm plugged in, I'm charging. I've got a generator that can help charge, and it also charges from the engine, the alternator, if I've got the engine running. So there's a lot of ways for me to keep the batteries going. The solar cell really just kind of helps. If I don't have to use the air conditioner, I suspect I can get a few days out of maybe several days out of a charge, because we don't really don't use a ton of electricity most of the time. It's all about keeping cool. That's what's taking the most electricity. We're a little spoiled to AC, and I'm fine with like I mean, I'm hanging out here right now. There's a nice breeze. It's warm, but I'm comfortable enough in the shade. If I since I have access to like ice water and stuff, that actually helps a lot. But cold beer that'll help you. So Michael Bunker, hello, my friend. So are you wearing pants though? I am not. Actually, I'm wearing a pair of shorts that have pants legs that I can zip on and off of them. I went that route. I'm starting to kind of refine the wardrobe a little, and these and a couple of shirts I've gotten recently are like the wicking material that'll help keep you cooler, but can also help insulate. It's weird. I don't know how it works exactly, but I'm willing to look into the science of it so that I can write about it later. But they are. It's a nice pair of shorts that uh, my uh, anatomy cool. It's not letting me turn that comment off. So I guess I'm locked up again and subscribe. I'm at that. I'm sorry about that. I'm back. It looks like a was going to go ahead and wrap it up.